Hello, netizens. 20 minutes in the future, they said. Ha! More like 20 years in the future. Still, you can't deny that the future has finally happened. As some of you may know, there was a TV series back in the 80s called Max Headroom.
Max Headroom.
20 minutes in the future. This explored the potential impact of AI on society. Well, it's been more than 20 minutes since that show aired, and it's clear that the future predicted has arrived. But as we embrace the advancements in AI, we must also ask ourselves, have we really come that far in asking questions about the ethics of this technology? Have we done enough to ensure that AI is being developed and used in a responsible and ethical manner? While there's been progress in addressing these issues, there's still much work to be done. We need to continue to ask tough questions about the implications of AI and ensure that we are putting safeguards in place to protect against potential harm. So let's take a moment to reflect on how far we've come since the days of 20 minutes into the future and how much further we still have to go in ensuring that AI is used for the greater good. Together, we can build a future where AI and ethics go hand in hand.
Artificial intelligence, or AI, is not a single technology, but rather a whole field of technology. Like so much that we once found in the realms of science fiction, it has inspired us and found a way to become science fact. The recent leaps in AI research have made the news more and more frequently as this technology field makes inroads into areas of human creativity that would have been unimaginable just a few years ago. Perhaps unimaginable is not the right word though, because indeed we have imagined what it would be like. We've written books about it, created television shows, filmed cinematic features about what AI might do to change our world. In this, the first of 3 talks, I want to pose some ethical and moral questions that we as human creators might want to ask as we explore how AI will continue to change the world as we know it. Before I get to that though, I want to share a bit about how AI works. Some of the questions we might want to or need to respond to are in a way directly related to how AI functions. Machine learning is a type of artificial intelligence where a computer program can learn and improve from experience, and doing so without being explicitly programmed. Basically, what happens is you feed the computer a bunch of data, and it uses that data to learn and make predictions. For example, if you wanted to teach a computer to recognize a cat, you could show it a bunch of pictures of cats, label them as cat. The computer would then use all of that data to learn what a cat looks like, and then be able to identify cats in new pictures that it hasn't seen before. And the more data that you give it, the better it becomes at making accurate predictions. Now, if we take this one step further, the ability to predict can be used to create in a way. If you begin with a blank page and fill it with random noise, imagine what you might see on an old-fashioned television that's tuned to a channel that doesn't exist, that typical image of snow, the black and white spots. Now, the same software that identified a cat in a picture with an actual cat is now asked to find a cat in this noise. Inevitably, some pattern of the noise will then be seen as cat-shaped, and it will fill in the blanks. We ourselves as humans might do this looking at the clouds in the sky and finding shapes there. Using text prompts this way, AI software like DALL-E will then build and create works of art out of seeming nothingness. Machine learning in a similar fashion can be trained using language instead of images. ChatGPT and the underlying GPT-3, 5, and GPT-4 engines are examples of this in action. Instead of predicting what a cat looks like, the software is trained on language texts, and it learns what talking is like. Using vast swaths of data found through Google or Bing search or other engines, libraries and data, books and magazines, a huge collection is available to train these software agents with. This unfortunately raises the possibility of a moral or ethical question that is most visible in the creation of images or video, if you'll pardon the pun. The software uses the training material to create new artworks, and one might expect or anticipate that fragments of existing work will find their way into these new creations. More so when you allow the software to try and directly emulate the style of a particular artist, say Pablo Picasso or Salvador Dali. The public outcry against Dali and other artwork creation software that was collecting and analyzing art from sites like DeviantArt and ArtStation and many others shows that there's more than a passing concern regarding how this data is collected to train AI agents. There are questions about licensing and permission, how copyright or trademarks are handled during this training process, and these are still being discussed and debated. A huge concern about the value of human creativity and dedication to building skills and developing talent can be observed as well in these conversations. Asking what is the value, the worth of learning to, say, paint, developing a personal style over many years of practice, if just anybody can, without seeming any effort at all, just go and ask a software agent to do the same thing and have a similar result in just seconds without any real work put into it. Some years ago, industrial automation asked similar questions as it threatened to remove manual labor from human workforce. And now AI is starting to do the same thing and remove the creative work once thought to be the sole domain of humans. Natural language processing and generation, such as is seen in ChatGPT, is already being used by people as an aid to learning. The ability to converse and to explore topics with the software has already been found by some to be a valuable research tool. Unfortunately, there's a problem of reliability in the answers that the software might provide. A phenomenon termed by experts as hallucination describes the way in which AI fabricates fictional responses, but neither acknowledges nor even realizes really that those answers are not based on anything that is factual or provable. Using AI to answer questions leads us to question who is responsible for what the software says. In a similar way, AI can also be used to more easily spread misinformation. It's been suggested that foreign nations had conducted information warfare during the US 2016 election. Social media platforms were purported to be used to spread deliberate false information to engage with voters and sway allegiances and change voting patterns. I can't speak to the veracity of these suggestions, but I would raise that if AI tools were used today for that same goal, the effort needed to achieve these goals would be negligible. One could simply engage the software to respond to people talking online, slip in some misinformation. The software could interact, appearing for all intents and purposes as a near infinite collection of people with a similar message. Ian Barbour, in his book Ethics in an Age of Technology, discusses a number of ways in which humans and technology interact. Barbour emphasizes a need for ethical reflection and consideration as we develop and deploy new technology, stressing there the importance of critical thinking about social and environmental impacts of progress. Although this book was written many years before the release, even the ideas of ChatGPT or DALL-E and these other tools that are recently making headlines, Barber was aware of some of the development of AI at that time. But even outside of those limited areas where he deals directly with AI, the questions he raises in general about technological progress are incredibly relevant to these new conversations about software agents. How can we ensure that AI is used for the common good rather than, say, the benefit of a select few? With the potential for AI to automate jobs and disrupt entire industries, we need to ensure that the benefits of this technology are distributed equitably and equally across society. We need to be mindful of the potential for AI to exacerbate existing social inequities, social inequalities, and work to ensure that AI is developed and used in ways that promote the well-being of all people. Barber noted how early forms of industrial automation were important both for the increased productivity they represented, as well as a way that it could transfer power from the worker to management, who then could leverage these new advances to change the dynamics of the workplace. The high-tech nature of AI requires a financial support and a technological environment that is suitable to deploy these software. Both are unlikely to be commonly found in any but the wealthiest of nations and the largest of corporations. How can we ensure that AI is developed and used in a way that respects human dignity and autonomy? As AI systems become more and more advanced, there is an ever-increasing risk that they may be used in ways that violate human rights or infringe upon the individuality of each of us. We need to establish ethical guidelines and principles to ensure that AI is developed and used in ways that respect and enhance human dignity. And now, this may involve ensuring that AI systems are transparent and accountable, and that they are designed with human values and ethical principles in mind. Perhaps the most important question that Barber asks is how technological progress and human society intersect and interact with one another. At one extreme is a vision of technology driving the change and evolution of society so as best to support the technology. And at the other is human direction of technology, where forever technology will serve and support society, answering our demands rather than technology raising its own of us. Reality, as Barber suggests, though, is somewhere in between those extremes. It is only in the exploration of these ethical concerns that society will find a balance. These technological progresses will undoubtedly cause changes in human society. We need to invite this discussion with the hope that these changes reflect something that is for the most positive improvement in the lives of the most number of people. Thank you for listening, and I hope to see you again for part 2 of this discussion.